The lofted cut command is very similar to the standard loft. It can be fairly easy to extremely complex. The lofted cut shares most of the same options as the original loft. Keep in mind you will need a minimum of 2 sketches. Plan out the shape and think through the process before you start. I've got a block here shown, and you can see I actually have a couple sketches already pre-set up. One on this face here, and if I spin it around, one on the face over here. If you remember back from the Loft movie we originally did, we had almost exactly the same shapes that we did the original lofted, almost like a pyramid shape. Now we're going to do the exact same cut in this block. So what I have, my first sketch here is just sketch 2. If I open it up, it's pretty basic. It's just 6 inches by 4 inches, and it's on center with a little center line across the shape. If I get out of that, and then I go over here to sketch 3, I'm using the top of the part to draw that on. And again, it's just a really simple circle on center at the origin. Go ahead and exit out of that. Okay, to do the lofted cut, we're going to jump up here to the Features tab, come over here to Lofted Cut, and we're going to choose our profiles. Now, we have a couple options to choose our profiles. We can choose them from the view window here. However, I always recommend choosing the entire sketch from the tree. If the tree happens not to be open, you can always click on the plus next to it to open it up so you can see those values and the different sketches. Go ahead and choose sketch 2. Directly below that, go ahead and choose sketch 3. You can see a nice preview of what's going to happen here, how it's going to be cutting that all the way through the part. I also have the options, just like I did in the original loft, to do some start and end constraints or add guide curves and a few other options down here I can play with. I can make it a thin feature if I wanted to. But let's just stick with the basic one for right now. Click on OK and see what happens. You can see a nice little funnel cut into that shape, and it's a pretty useful feature for making these type of designs. Let's go back and play around with the other options here under Lofted Cut and go ahead and start with some of those starting and end constraints. Start constraint, I can change it to normal to profile, for instance, and I'll just open that up a little bit, give it a little bit more rounding, and I can grab this little handle and I can pull it out a little further to obviously make it have more effect on this, or less effect depending. And I can also just type in a value here. So I can type in maybe 2.0 and that'll show you what it's going to do. Click OK, and now you have it a little bit more rounded out shape inside there. So you can play with those to get that final shape looking really well. Again, go back to Lofted Cut, and I can also come down to End Constraint, click on Normal to Profile again. This time I'm going to make it more of a bottle shape, and I can adjust these again by making it more of like a smooth funnel. Click OK, and there's my final shape. So it looks pretty good. And again, you can play with those direction vectors and those normal to profile values to get any shape you really want. Keep in mind, when you do change these values or you make lofted cuts, these are freeform surfaces now. So they're very difficult to define on a drawing or to relay to manufacturing. It's mostly going to be something we'd use to do like some type of a molding process or a casting process. The loft command is definitely one of the more powerful commands in SOLIDWORKS, and the creation process can be time-consuming. However, the concept is fairly straightforward, and the complexity really lies in building the appropriate sketches and laying out the shape. Lofts can be extremely simple to extremely complex. Make sure to review the sketching and plane chapters to really feel comfortable with the loft command.